Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here with Jonathan Cooper, a good friend of mine and founder and Chief Enablement Officer, or CEO, of TravPRO Mobile. Now, what's TravPRO Mobile? Well, those of you out that have tried it, it's a great training and educational platform, and we're going to talk to Jonathan about that, especially during this crisis when people may have a little more time to do a little training and education. And we're going to find out about that and a lot more that he's doing on Insider Travel Report. First of all, Jonathan, how are you and where are you?
Hello, James. How are you? I am in New Jersey, the great state of New Jersey, out in a little town called Bernardsville right now.
Oh, that's a lovely town. I've been out there. It's a great place. Now, remind us what TravPRO Mobile is and what it offers to travel advisors.
So I started TravPRO in 2014-15 after a long time with the media companies. And what we went about doing was elevating your typical e-learning to mobile learning. And there's a lot that goes into that, different content, shorter units, the ability to grab it from mobile, tablet, and phone with downloadable apps, and really remove the friction from the training exercise itself. But almost more importantly, we're the first to marry that up with the science of sales enablement. And sales enablement picks up where the diploma leaves off. And it essentially helps you bridge the gap and take all that great training and bring it to your clients in a way where you can still be the expert, still be able to answer all the questions, add value, add influence, and ultimately engineer better results and close more bookings. So a new system to keep all the brand and sales intelligence, whether it's in training mode or you're using it to sell, at the fingertips of advisors, really whenever and wherever they need it.
No, that's great. And obviously the TravPRO Mobile is there because you actually can do this on your phone, if I recall. You can do the training and education in a lot of different devices, right?
Yeah, it's really one of the first things we tried to solve for. Coming out of e-learning, you had to have your laptop and a quiet place and a connection, etc. When you download the apps, you really let training fit into today's more modern lifestyle. No one has an hour to block for a long e-learning chapter, but you have 12, 15 minutes. So part of our training is all the modules are 12 to 15 minutes. When you apply that to having it on a downloadable app, that means anytime, anywhere, you're waiting for your train or your bus to commute, you're on the sideline of a kid's sports game, you can take out your mobile devices, jump in, all that content on mobile gets downloaded along with the learning management system, so you can stop and start. You can start on your phone, jump over to your laptop, finish on your tablet. It'll track you the whole way, but it really removes the friction and lets you get these exercises and this information done in a way that fits with people's lifestyles.
No, that's great. Now, what are some of the programs you offer on TravPRO Mobile right now?
So our platform is, in its biggest form, a global platform. So we drive the global programs for everyone from from California to Florida, Thailand, Peru, LA, Vegas. And we have a version for North America that advisors here can download, but it's also translated and localized into, for California, 18 different markets, 13 different languages, Florida, Peru, similarly. For North America, we work with Taiwan, BVI, Visit Wales, Britain, Central Europe, just launched a new program with Rail Europe, in tour. The whole Globus family of brands, Talc Tours, Barcelona on the hotel side, South African Airways, launching a new program with Quark. So more heavily started in destination, but covering the remainder of the niches and categories.
No, clearly, and if with Rail Europe and Globus and things like that, you're getting into supplier training as well as destinations.
Yeah, most of the training we've done is for destinations and suppliers on the product side, but we also have a couple of programs that we actually use our platform to train local folks for Houston and Colorado. We call them ambassador programs. So we're actually training the Airbnb hosts, the Uber drivers, restaurateurs, bartenders, etc., on how to know their backyard better, what to do, where to go, have these resources to share with people. So when visitors come, they have a more hospitable experience in town, obviously tell other people that and build that way.
No, absolutely. And I mentioned it earlier, but these days, obviously, with the crisis, COVID-19, and everything else that we're going through, and supposedly advisors have more time to educate themselves. Oh, I got to tell you, if they're anything like me, I don't know where they find the time because they're just still working with their clients. But there is a little more time for them to do this. And I would think that would give you an advantage in what you can offer them, right?
Yeah, there's an enormous advantage in what we can offer them and the timing of it. And we're seeing probably 3 to 4 times the amount of training organically in the last couple of months that happened pre-COVID. And really the biggest benefit, the entire reason we married training with sales enablement was because of something called Ebbinghouse's forgetting curve. If you take a training today, you will forget about 75% of what you just learned within a day. And there's always a gap between when you train and put that information to use. In good times, it could be days or a week. Now you're talking about training where you're spending all this time learning about new product or destinations, et cetera, and you're really not going to be able to fully actively sell for weeks, if not, month 2, knock on wood, it comes quicker. But our platform is uniquely positioned to, like I said before, help you take the training with you. So we believe we have the only viable platform that allows the advisor to make the most of their time right now. You can take training on Peru, Taiwan, Florida, California, any of our programs right now, and have that information with you when you need it in front of clients, whether it's weeks or months down the road. One thing that I looked at when I built this company was so much great information in training mode, but there's an LMS. You have to start on page 1, go through it all. It tracks, you can't skip, answer the questions. Great for that one training exercise. But for that reason, when I was running the academies and universities for the media companies, less than 1% of the learners ever went back through it because of all the friction. So they're just forgetting. So what's unique in our platform is you take the training, you get your certificate, we take all that training content, strip out the LMS, strip out the questions, put 3 summary bullet points on top of it, and repurpose it so that you can very easily revisit any of the chapters, any of the content, jump into the end of a chapter within one tap, etc. It's all about removing the friction and, hopefully engineering better results with a better format.
No, and I was with you at some of those media companies that were offering those training programs, academies, et cetera. And it was great training, but you're right. We would get a lot of graduates, and then people would say, well, what are you going to do with those graduates? And how are they going to actually use the information? And it sounds like you found a way to do that very well.
We hope to, and particularly with the mobile apps, right? You take it on a web, et cetera. But when you have your phone, you have your tablet with you in most business environments, you have a client that's interested in something that you have right there. You're much more confident to access that information, be able to answer the questions, be the expert. And it's that type of influence that ultimately changes the game in terms of getting bookings or not. You can't spend a lot of time. I'm a lifelong salesperson. That's why I did this too. You can't get a lot of wins by saying, I don't know, I'll get back to you. I'm not sure. Let me figure it out. I'll get back to you. They came to you because you are the expert. You need to know it on the fly. And it's impossible to remember it all. But when you can open up your Peru app or California app or Florida app or Las Vegas app and just search what the question was, and that answer pops up, and you can turn it around and share a video or an advisor insight. The content we have is much different. E-learning used to be a wall of words, 1,500 words a page, took an hour to get through, and 25 multiple choice questions. Ours are 200 to 300 words. We go out and interview advisors to bring in their perspective. We have videos that are very relevant, less than a minute, pointed infographics, maps, a lot more information for you to be the expert and exert that influence with your clients to get the bookings.
No, it sounds like a great system, and I've seen it, and we've been helping you to promote it a bit. I wanted to shift a little over because you're also venturing into other areas now a little bit, and I know that because I'm going to be hosting a webinar later this month for some destinations. Talk a little bit about these webinars that you're going to be doing with some of your destination partners and more, and also how travel advisors can join these webinars.
So the webinars came about organically. We started as a tech company doing mobile learning and sales enablement, and our database has grown to 60,000 plus advisors. There's 45,000 plus that are active in any given month, in our platform. Once we were able to build our audience and build that trust for them, we very much believe that learning is a continual exercise. The one-time exercise of e-learning or mobile learning, et cetera, it's a great starting place, but there's so much more to learn from different elements. We like the webinar because it's conversational and you really can get the nuance of a story, et cetera, and it counterbalances the training very well. What I didn't like is the fact that webinars had grown to an hour, hour and a half long.
Yeah.
They're redundant. They, again, didn't fit into today's, for the same reasons we redesigned the whole learning experience to make it fit in. We playfully launched these, we call them webinarios. They're 22 minutes, 8 minutes of questions. You're done in 30 minutes. You get to jump into certain scenarios, throw it around, and come out with hopefully a lot of value and not a lot of, posing and marketing as such. We love the conversation. We love the expertise. So the ability to right now as conversations, particularly with the shutdown and the reopen and how it's happening different everywhere, is so valuable. We decided to add another layer to that. So we are helping our clients and people we work with re-engage with the advisors through these webinars. Advisors can get involved really with anything we do by going to TravPROmobile.com, the source, and be able to see all of our training modules, sign up for our newsletter. We make a really strict promise to advisors. Come into our world. First, we'll never sell your data. Second, we'll never send an advertisement to you. Everything that we send is about learning opportunities, product suppliers, et cetera, and how to help you build your business. So for that reason, webinarios, I think, become a nice counterbalance, and that continual learning much more relative to the conversation going on right now.
No, and absolutely. And obviously we are kind of besieged over the years. We've been besieged by webinars. Every supplier has one. Every one of the travel media companies has one. I've done a number myself. And yeah, they're good. But if you can find a better way and a shorter way that people can get something out of them, it can only benefit the travel advisor, as I would say.
Yep, and for our clients and the advisor, as soon as we launch them, they archive into our training and sales enablement platform. So you as the advisor, as you're walking around, you'll have the training, you'll have all of the sales collateral and tools and enablement stuff, and you'll also have this archive of information, being conversations and deeper resources for you.
Yeah, I also understand you're looking into developing a new virtual trade show and really focusing on kind of domestic travel, because that's sort of the one everyone thinks will start first, as opposed to international, although we hope the international comes online first. Tell us a little bit about, if you can, what this virtual show is and how it's going to work and how travel advisors might benefit from it.
James, I couldn't be more excited about this one. I've been tinkering around with it for about a year or so. I've had clients come and be like, hey, we'd love to do this, but they want to do it within the platform. So think about the world I'm trying to fix is everything in B2B has been in silos. You come do your e-learning here, your webinars here, other stuff here, this here. There's no real seamless integrated place for either the user or the client to be able to aggregate all of this. So the Expo Pro, which we launched last month, is going to be starting with our own show called Discover America Roadshow. And it is exactly that, to help re-engage the advisors with domestic product that they can tee up to their clients that are within drive and highways and byways and things of that nature. The event itself is really different. We are the only people out there really taking a different angle on it. We've looked at every one of the virtual events platform. I actually invented one of the first ones in 2009 where we were working.
I know, absolutely. I remember it well. It was a very good show, actually.
On the heels of the financial crisis, because people weren't moving and they were canceling shows, et cetera. We did big ones with FunJet, with RCCL, et cetera. And they became for the last 10 years what they are. But then if you look after 10 years, they're a commodity. They're very generic and they look all the same. And all of them are more interested in making you believe you're in a, modern convention center with fake plants and fake people and, all of that, and not a lot of focus on, when we decided that I personally don't care about that. I don't think other people do. People want to focus on the content, the connectivity, the exhibit booth, and that whole experience. And we believe that we've smoothed out and really elevated the entire experience from keynote. And there are some common elements. You have keynote, you're going to have networking lounge, you're going to have a prize center, there's going to be breakout sessions, because it's all happening for the first time. We're not launching it as just an online event. We're bringing this into our mobile platform. So you can get into it via the apps or the web, but it's all going to sit there together. And when you come in, the exhibitor experience and the booth experience is what we've changed the most. You can obviously get in and look at all sorts of videos and collateral and download those and share those, et cetera. You can chat with the exhibitors. It's more inspiring. The biggest win is the concept that we're ushering in of taking the booth with you. So if you go to any booth at the bottom, it will say share this entire booth. So me as an advisor can be in there at a booth and be like, you know what, James would love this. But I don't want to just send him one video or one brochure. I want him to sell himself on the whole thing. I share that booth with you right from the show. And the ability for the exhibitors to get their message beyond the B2B and the advisor to their client base exists. For the advisor, you are on the fly able to re-engage with your clients, send them relevant things, really within one tap, airdrop it to them, text it to them, email it to them, etc. So the take the booth with you concept's very big. And for the exhibitors, it's not a one and done show. The show might be live for one day, but their booth lives as a showcase within the mobile sales platform. So as an advisor, I can come in and train. I can become familiar with all sorts of different product. I can go and visit the product during the show. But afterwards, that product is still there. I'm not looking around for who was that, which is the video. We're, again, trying to remove all the friction from the exhibitors getting through to the advisor and having them be able to pivot and spray and share that message with their hundreds of clients. And we think that, it is, it's different enough to where it should resonate very strongly. We are also able to add a one-to-one meeting component to it.
Okay, so you can meet directly with the exhibitor.
Yeah, so really think about going to a WTM. You go in there and you go to the Big Cali booth or Peru booth, et cetera, and there are all the exhibitor that you can go and visit like you would in a self-guided show. But you can also schedule a meeting with the director or whatever and go in there and have that meeting simultaneously. So parallel paths to really deliver a different experience. And again, being able to access it from your tablet, from your phone, removes the friction of who can get there when. There's a big problem between, registrants and attendees. A lot of people want to, et cetera, but they find themselves in a different place. They can't get access to it. They forget about it, et cetera. So we're hoping to solve for some of that as well.
So really, this is kind of a permanent online trade show, exhibitor exhibition that you can go to. There is a start point, but you can keep on going back.
Yeah, there's that live day where you can interact with everyone, but you come back afterwards, you can still schedule post meetings, et cetera. What we're shooting for is that nirvana of the 365 world, right? All year long, you have your training, your sales, the ability to light up meetings and events and connect people and have that chat happen, et cetera. And if we're able to do that end to end, in terms of any B2B strategy from our client's perspective, that handles quite a bit. From the advisor perspective, imagine having all of this just in one app, having one centralized location. When you start getting used to that and have that habit get created, it becomes a very powerful thing. People sell what they're confident in. If you have that, you're familiar with it, you have all that brand and sales intelligence at your fingertips, you can go and share, not only collateral, but these booths and these showcases with your clients to excite them. It is a very different world than the traditional B2B. And that's really, our tagline is trying to reimagine and re-engineer B2B to be more modern, to support the people in the trenches. And I was in those trenches for 25 years. I know, the frustrations and the issues with trying to go to a show and download tons of collateral, then come home and organize and then be like, what client would be interested in this? And let me organize this. The amount of time and friction, it's just too much. How about one tap? Share this.
That sounds amazing. Now, when is that going to begin? When is the start date roughly? Do you have a target for this?
We are doing the Discover America Roadshow July 15th, I believe, or thereabouts, second, third week of July. And there's a series of destination shows and other client shows that are happening in August, September, et cetera, that we'll be releasing very soon.
No, that's great. And I'm sure advisors will benefit. I know when we were together looking at those virtual trade shows way back, and I thought they worked very well, what we were doing. And this seems a light years ahead of that. And, obviously for a new world where advisors are constantly on the go, and a lot of them are working from home or remotely, so they don't necessarily have time to schedule to be at a trade show on X time. Although if I recall years ago, we had those virtual booths, and we would say, and they would all go in the virtual booths, and we had 500, 600 people go on the virtual booths, and then some supplier would say, well, we didn't have a lot of people. I said, when did you get 500 advisors in a virtual booth? Right?
However, it's the difference, there's a big difference out there between the traditional shows and how routine everything became. Drag your stuff in, pull this. We're inspiring our advisors to do a little friendly video, our exhibitors do a little friendly, hey, welcome to the video, here's the team, etc. That seems to be a leap for them. I'm surprised at that, but you add that friendly nature to it, you make the experience, you bring in and curate your best of, then you've really set yourself up for success with those 2, 3, 4, 500 advisors versus just having a stack of business cards and then hoping to go fishing later to get a couple of them, to participate.
No, absolutely. Now, what's your sense about what travel advisors are actually doing during this crisis? Do you think they're taking advantage of this time, as everybody suggests that they do, to better train and educate themselves about the travel products and destinations in the market today?
I do. I think it's more of a timing thing. People were saying that in mid-March. Oh, everything's shut down. There's going to be tons of time. I don't think everyone understood the complexities of shutting it down, right? All these advisors had a lot of clients either in flux, around, in motion, or had plans they had to deal with. We tried to kind of listen, be a little bit more quiet, et cetera. I believe that in the last few weeks, most of that has sorted itself out. The initial shock and awe is over. The reality is that right now is where, we're sensing everyone is starting to try to stand themselves back up. And what that means is, whatever pivots you need to do to pivot, frankly, if you've been really just selling mostly cruise for the last couple of years, you probably should take this time to learn about some destinations, some domestic options, some different product, et cetera. And as I mentioned, 2, 3, 4x times, number of activity in these programs, where we generally be running 100 or so people through these programs a month. We're at 300, 400 in some of them. The appetite is out there. People, it's not new that you win the war here as an advisor through specialization and being the expert, et cetera. So we are seeing a lot more of that. We're seeing a lot more of their interest in participating in these things. We've sent out a ton of surveys. Is it, have you been hit with webinars ad nauseum in this product and that product and a lot of that? And it seems that there is still an appetite. And when you boil it down, it's a fight for survival. I mean, we're all blessed in some ways, but it's hard in a lot of other ways. And when you get to that point, I think people understand that, taking these moments to do what you can to strengthen yourself, change what needs to be changed and get out there, as the summer unfolds and things open up, and, listen to the conversation and play into it and really build back from there. I think
absolutely.
We both agree that the appetite for travel is not going to disappear. Wanderlust is cranking it an all-time high. It's just, what are the details of how it opens up, how it unwinds, how everyone makes the traveler feel safe, etc. That gets it going.
Well, no, absolutely. You're totally right. And obviously there has been a strong emphasis on cruise sales, and it's going to be challenging for the remainder of the year, especially if they're not operating, to get those sales. But I'm actually reminded of a pivot point back in the late 90s when travel advisors, travel agents back then were selling a lot of airline tickets. And then they had to retool to refocus on what they did even better, which was to sell cruises and tours and resorts instead of just making a lot of money selling airline tickets. And a lot of them adjusted and went back to the future and were successful in doing that. Now we face a situation where they have a chance to find out about new products through your programs, find out about new destinations, and really become expert in those. And your domestic show is great, because obviously domestic travel is the one everyone's pointing to, where you're going to be able to do that a lot more, at least, or will have to, for the next few months until international starts to come back, probably 2021.
Yeah, we agree. We're fortunate to have a big, one of our bigger programs with California, meaning we also work with 15 of their major CBDs. Everyone from San Fran, Monterey, West Hollywood, Anaheim, Palm Springs, Santa Monica, Sonoma. So you can get to know California statewide. You can dig into, different experiences. Florida, similarly, Colorado, Houston. It'll be a nicely balanced show. We're really excited to not only tout the new platform and the new technology, but moreover, be part of, helping restart everything that we can. One of the, in addition to you guys being sponsors of the show, we do a big program. We power the Tourism Cares Meaningful Travel platform as well. And they're going to be a partner in that as well, delivering some cool, sustainability content and bringing in some of their partners. So should be supremely balanced. It really will shine with the content and the experience versus the CAD CAM design of fake plants and fake people, I assure you.
I do remember those fake plants and fake people.
I liked them at first too.
But anyway, any other messages you want to get out to travel advisors about TravPRO Mobile and what you think advisors might want to be doing right now, or anything else?
Just wrap up with, helping them understand that I started TravPRO for the sellers, for the advisors. They are the hero of our story. Everything we do is free for them. Frankly, I value my travel advisor more than I do my financial advisor, James. I didn't hear from my banks or anything during this crisis, help with PPP, not at all. My advisor was one of the first to call me to help unwind some summer stuff, and start planting some seeds for what are the options? Where can I get to maybe end of the summer or the fall to sneak away with the family, et cetera. That's of value to me, particularly as all that stuff was stripped away from my life. So, the advisor's the hero. Everything is for them. I implore them to, experience the web app. It'll be, a very strong experience, but this platform really shines on the mobile side. So get to your app stores, Android. It's available on Android and iOS for tablets, phone, everything in between. And, bring a couple of programs onto your phone. This platform, in terms of training, is also one of the first time you can take training offline. So if you download the app, you don't need Wi-Fi, you don't need cell, you can sit anywhere, anytime, get this training done, and start getting that specialization, that expertise, like you spoke about, in the late 90s. I, in fact, had just started with QuestX at that time. They're like, well, you got about 4 years until advisors aren't going to be around anymore. And then the whole pivot to specialization occurred and reinventing themselves up until, pre-COVID, where there was, all the stories and positivity about all new people coming into the agency, young people, millennials, and all the good work they're doing. So, ultimately the message to the agents is that we're here to help support you. go to TravPROmobile.com, the source, look at the library. We're going to be coming out with the industry's first super app called The Source, where you'll be able to download that and access all of our programs, all of our shows, all of our media, webinars, podcasts, things like that. So it's going to be an exciting summer here for sure.
It sounds like a busy summer too. As we know, we always thought we'd have time to reflect, but we're in the middle of it, and we seem to be working harder than ever. But great advice. We're happy to support you in this with the webinar. What did you call it? Webinaria. That's a new name. I think you should trademark that one. But
I got to sell it to the rest of my team first. We're at a 50-50 vote on that.
Anyway, Jonathan, it's great to see you. Glad to see you're healthy and safe, and hope to see you live soon at some place. We usually inhabit the circuit of trade shows together, but that seems to be cut off right now, at least for the rest of the year in many cases. I don't know when the next one will be, but I'm sure you will be there, and I'll be there too.
I'll look forward to seeing you there again in person. James, thanks a lot for your time and letting me share with everyone.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.